What is sociology? You might have heard this term in books, on TV shows. Heck, even Charlie Cook once said we aren't a real field, so what are we? The philosopher Auguste Comte said that we are the scientific study of society, calling us the queen of the sciences because we take biology, psychology, and everything else to build up a holistic picture of society. But that's just one definition. Other sociologists call us the study of modernity, how modern societies work. Others just simply see us as trying to understand people for people. But let's back up a minute. What is sociology to the people who founded this field? For Emile Durkheim, sociology was the study of what keeps society stable. This was known as functionalism. Basically, Durkheim said if something exists in society, that means it serves a purpose in maintaining that society. Be this from how our educational system works, to even crime. Yes, Durkheim said criminals are vital parts of society, where by them breaking the rules, we learn what the rules are. Now, you may have some disagreements with Durkheim. I know I do. He effectively justifies the worst of society as being good for society. But what do other foundational theorists think? Max Weber defined sociology not so much through what keeps it stable, but rather how do ideas influence it. This is known as symbolic interactionism. His studies on capitalism try to show how early Protestants influenced society and economic structures to build the world that we have today. In other words, he's saying the ideas that people generate are what build society. Another way to look at this is through symbols. It's called symbolic interactionism after all. When we think of a stop sign, it's a red hexagon with some scribbles on it. That doesn't mean much, yet it carries a power over us. If you don't stop at a stop sign, you might have something bad happen to you, either a crashed car or police following you. Either way, it has power despite it just being a symbolic idea. But what about societal change? For that, we turn to Karl Marx. While he didn't define himself as a sociologist, his ideas shaped our field heavily, specifically conflict theory, where rather than looking at how societies stay stable, let's look at what causes societies to change. If there's groups that are competing, we're going to see movement. Now, when you hear conflict theory, you might think of wars and criminals and combat, but let's take a more everyday example. If you're an employee at, let's say, a restaurant, you want to get the most value out of your work as possible. You're either cooking the food, delivering it, managing things. You're doing all this labor. And this labor is what's generating value. It's what's generating profits. And you want to get the most bang for your hours. You want to get all the money you can for the work you provide. At the same time, your employer wants to keep as much money for themselves as possible from your labor. You're doing the work, but they want to keep the profits of it. As such, we're seeing a contradiction in society, and thus, we see conflict theory in motion. We're always going to see changes when it comes to employment and labor, because there's conflicting wants and needs within our economic system. So that causes societal change. Now, what if we smash some of these together? Let's take symbolic interactionism, how symbols influence people, and conflict theory, how competing wants influence people. Smash them together, sprinkle in a little bit of gender, and we get feminist theory. We get outlooks based on how something socially constructed like gender, combined with competing wants and needs of society, creates this entire in-depth field of study of feminism and women and gender studies. Now, that's super interesting, but we've only talked about Europeans so far. Let's talk about the American schools. Traditionally, it was taught that the Chicago School was the first American school of sociology, that these guys came together, developed the field, and that's how we got sociology in America. But as of recent, the American Sociological Association has changed the narrative. Rather than the Chicago School being the foundation of American sociology, we have this other school, the Atlanta School, that, while underrepresented, was truly the first sociological school in America and a foundational school. Now, why was that? It's because of one man, W.E.B. DuBois, another classical thinker often forgotten about. DuBois developed the study of race within America. He specifically wanted to understand why did black communities face the discrimination they faced, and how does that work sociologically? And this man was smart. He was the first person of color to receive a PhD from Harvard, and he did so in the field of sociology. He also studied in Atlanta, traveled across the country, went to Germany for a couple of years, and was a major influence on the civil rights movement. As of recent, he's been rightfully taking his place as a classical sociologist. But that's enough about the history of sociology. What is sociology? We can look at sociology almost as the twin of psychology. While psychology studies the individual, studies you as a specific person, sociology wants to look at the forest and the trees. We want to look at everything, including how people and groups influence you. We see this very explicitly in C. Wright Mill's writing, The Sociological Imagination, where he goes in depth arguing that, hey, you are a unique individual. You have agency over your life. At the same time, mass societal forces influence what decisions you can make. In his classic example, during non-war times, you might be a shopkeep, but during a war, you might get drafted and now be an artilleryman. That doesn't mean you didn't have a choice in your life. But at the same time, these wider societal forces influenced you. Sociology tries to look at the trees and the forest behind them, not just the trees or the forest. So, sociology is a big field, and we have many, many different subfields, from political sociology to economic sociology, urban and rural sociology, environmental sociology, the sociology of knowledge, education, and even social psychology, which really tries to blend the two together. Sociology is a big field with a range of applications. So, what is sociology? Simply, it's the study of society. It's the study of groups, of how people work. It's the study of you and those around you. Till next time, see y'all around.